From the early flickers of silent movies to the vibrant hues of modern digital filmmaking, cinema has always been more than just a source of entertainment. It is a powerful medium that captures the essence of our times, portraying the complexities of human emotions and the nuances of cultural diversity. Films, from blockbusters to indie gems, offer a unique lens into different societies, providing not only a window into other cultures, but also a mirror reflecting our own. Cinema transcends borders, facilitates cross-cultural dialogues, and continues to evolve in a globalized world. Our conversation shall center on film production and societal orientation. Izu Okafor, a filmmaker, a social entrepreneur, and the convener AMAA Creative and Film Festival, will be speaking to us on the subject matter. Izu, you're welcome to Signature Evening.
Thank you.
And I hope it's AMAA.
Yes, it's
all right. Okay.
Right.
Filmmaking, it has actually evolved. We've been on this for a while. In fact, I grew up and was lucky to join what eventually became Nollywood.
Wow.
Before then, it was stage dramas, waiting for NTA at 4 p.m. to resume,
yes.
And we saw drama, a lot of sitcoms and the likes, but over time it evolved. I don't know how it is for you. I just shared my own experience about Nigerian film industry.
Okay, I think I grew up here. I was born here in Enugu, so I grew up here. So growing up, I remember seeing all those big buses, location buses. I remember seeing Ramsey Nouah,
right here in Enugu.
Yes, right here in those buses, and they were going to locations to film. And I didn't at that point in my life that I was going to be a filmmaker. There was nothing in my life that was pointing towards filmmaking or was saying, oh, maybe you're going to be...
No interest at all?
No, there was not. Like, if you want to be a filmmaker, what do you go to school to study?
Theater arts. Theater and film studies.
Okay, right now.
Is there any film study anywhere in Nigeria?
They have movie schools.
Currently now, I think there is theater and film studies. But before, it was just theater. Like 10 years ago, there's nothing like film studies.
So strictly stage performances.
Stage, performance, dance, and the like. So people were taught how to act for the stage, not for the screen. So it was different, and so I didn't know. It was like, oh, film happened after my service here. I was trying to get a work, and it was a recommendation actually. Someone just told me, why not learn video editing? I think that was my ascent into the industry. Like, why not learn video editing? So I was like, okay, no problem, because I think.
Now, how long ago was that?
That was like not so long ago, 2021.
Okay.
2021. So I've not been here for that long.
Oh, okay.
I've not been here for that long. I served in Adamawa. Okay, the story was this. I studied at Imo State University. I went jam like 4 times. So it was like, you know.
You were trying to study aeronautic engineering perhaps.
No.
I can just imagine why you were resistant to jam.
So I think the first
at least Imo VK is something you should have just considered.
I think that's the mistake we make in our educational system, that there is dangerous counseling in school, and I don't know if they're actually doing the job to tell young people, okay,
it's not in the line to go.
It's not, because at first I wanted to. I think at first in my junior secondary I wanted to be an accountant. In my senior secondary I had to change. I think I was thinking towards computer engineering, computer. Yeah, and
it's a serious deviation.
Yeah, then in SS3, jump form, and now I wanted to study radiography.
Of all courses.
Yeah, because it was exciting at that time. Nobody was doing radiography. It felt, oh, this is something new. So it's going to be a radiographer. It makes sense. It sounded, I'm sure that's what happens to every young people out there. What makes sense for your pair and what sounds good to you? You guys are like, okay, why not let me do this? So I think that's what happens, because I don't think.
But I hope you didn't mix that up, radiography. I hope you didn't connect it to media.
Okay, unfortunately, I didn't actually study radiography.
Okay, but at the time, was that what you were thinking, or
no? I wasn't thinking. I was thinking
it was
about
just novel for you.
The medical profession, and it's enterprise. Everyone wants to be part of the medical profession.
Okay.
So it felt really interesting, but then not being a doctor made more sense. But you could still be in the medical profession and specialize in those X-ray stuff and
Wearing
radiation.
lab coat and all.
Yes, so it's
Just before.
He's still on.
Okay, he's still on. Okay, don't worry, finish.
so okay. What happened was I got animal and environmental biology. And to God,
that must be UNM.
No. I've never heard of that course before. Imo State University.
Okay.
I've never ever in my life.
I
saw it on the. I saw my name. I was looking for my name because I finally applied for geography.
Okay.
Finally, because after JAM
from radiography.
It's a long story. So, like,
why you started this narrative?
I need to explain.
Guidance and counselors gap.
Yeah, there is. I think there's a huge gap there. So, I applied for geography and environmental management. That was my last JAM. Before then, that particular JAM that year, I chose Michael Obara University because instead I wanted to leave Enugu.
Where is that? Abia State?
Yeah, it's Umudike.
Okay.
So when the JAM cutoff mark came out, I was like, oh, I got up to, was it 197? It was enough for, I think it was cutoff was 180. I was like, okay, interesting. But then my uncle told me then, why not IMSU? Why don't you want to go to Imo State? I've never been to Owerri all my life prior to 2014. I've never ever been to Owerri prior to 2014. So it was my first time going to pick up that form, going to write the post-UTME, and God, it was not a nice experience. If you grew up in Enugu, there is this vibe to Enugu. Enugu has the life. Like, for me, I feel Enugu is the life.
Okay.
So, but when you are coming to Owerri, can imagine, anytime, like my first day in school, I was telling someone, my first day in school, every weekend, Fridays, immediately after classes, I enter the nearest bus back to Enugu.
Oh.
Monday morning, I'm back to
I thought Owerri was such a bubbling state.
Comparatively.
Yeah, Owerri is actually bubbling. It's bubbling. For people that, you know, where you are used to, Enugu is more like a comfort zone for me.
Okay.
So I'm used to Enugu. And then Imo State University at that time was not anything like UNEC or ASUS or IMT. It was looking, at that time, at 2013, 2014, it was nothing, it was not interesting. It was looking something else, like, I don't know. So, but now it's upgraded. Like, I don't want to shock you, but I live in Owerri now.
Oh?
Yes.
Eventually.
I live in Owerri. I live in Owerri now. I do films in Owerri now. So, take that as what gave rise to all this.
Obviously.
Okay, just before you dived into your story, you mentioned that theater arts always prepares you for mostly stage productions and not the movie production when acting. Is there the transition from stage to film? Would you say it's better to transition from stage to film or to just dive right into film? Because I feel maybe it gives you a certain grounding, doesn't it?
Yeah, it gives you a certain ground. It actually gives you a certain ground. But because of I wouldn't blame the educational system in Nigeria. It's, oh, you want to study this, oh yeah, focus on this. Now keeps you around that box of what you want to study. Right now, I don't even know if they're teaching content creation in school. Content creation is now big.
Maybe it's infused in one of the courses.
It could be, maybe it could be part of the courses or modules or part of a particular course, but it's big now. So, but theater arts right now, I think it's now getting that. Like I said, 10 years ago, I don't know if there was theater arts and film studies in any school. What I know was theater arts.
Okay.
I think some years back it's now getting to film studies, and now they're now understanding them. Like there's been always the media part in theater arts, but film is not. I'm not so sure. There is a study.
There is currently
film studies, like a study of film, but the practical aspect, the production. I don't think any theater artist can actually produce a film as at 20 years ago.
As at 20 years ago.
Yes. I don't think any theater artist can actually produce
a movie.
But the narrative has changed today.
Yes.
Okay, in recent years there's been a push for more inclusivity. I don't know if because we're talking about the transition from stage
Yeah.
to the screen. And so I don't know if there are significant barriers that still exist, you know, between those two. And how do you think filmmakers, I don't know if today's filmmaker can handle both screen and stage.
Okay, so truth be told, theater is a world of its own. Most filmmakers can never handle theater. If you don't study theater,
you can't.
You can't. It's different. And film, to an extent, you get, like, let's say you learn stage acting, you just need to be pointed out for you to know how to do it. In stage, it's your voice. You need to show.
Project.
Yeah, it's project. But for stage, for screen, you're acting for the camera. There's an audience, right? So you need to accommodate whatever you're going to do. It's more like an internalization of your emotions and trying to express it for the camera, not for the crowd. In stage, that's why in stage you see people demonstrate and all those kind of things, and it makes sense.
They exaggerate
Yes.
actions.
But then in film, you can't do that. It loses the essence of film. Film brings life, the way we live. You know, when you do stage shows us what we want to see. It's like the Roman circus, like it's entertainment, but then from the point of view of, oh, what I want to see. But film is, oh, this is how I live. That's why when you watch a film, you connect to the film. You can be able to be emotional about a film as much as you can be emotional about the entertainment that's here. But film it's like a journey that sucks you in, and then you just stay there and you feel whatever the actor is feeling because they were able to take you through that experience.
So how would you say film shapes public perception of societal issues like racism, climate change, inequality, and the rest of it?
Okay, I think filmmakers have actually done a lot. But I wouldn't, yes, like there's this particular film, Dry. Yes, it was made by Stephanie Okereke. So I think it focused on female genital FGM, female genital mutilation. And as a film, I believe in film for social change. Like film has to be a tool that we could use to drive social change. So we need to tell stories that can impact lives, not just about the entertainment part of it. Stories that can influence a generation. Stories that can give people a different view of what they think possible. Like you talked about climate change. I think there are films that, like I saw a film that talked about climate change. But then the thing is, you don't just push it there. You just add those bits to your film to make people know, oh, this is what this person is talking about. This is the consequence of what could happen if I drink sachet water and drop it on the streets. This is what it could lead to. You sure if you could, through motion picture, just create something that shows the after effect of whatever, because people don't know that, oh, a single set of water could cause harm if it gets to the sea. Like if it mistakenly travels from water, carries it, gets to any water body, it could kill a fish, and we don't even care. So, but then through film as a tool, people could be able to tell the stories and then point towards that particular aspect of our culture.
You know, as Nollywood was coming up over the years, apart from the too much romance that was played, you know, when you mentioned Ramsey Nouah, the only thing I can remember was all the love stories told around him and either Genevieve
and that man that always says, darling.
Yes, from the romance. Too much romance that played that made us to forget about the Indian films. There was too much rituals.
Oh.
Something that I could tag misconception. You know, a young man getting frustrated in the village, carrying his little sack bag, going to Lagos or city. Very few times it was the city, but most times it was Lagos, and then becoming stupendously rich. Okay, so our film is trying to, while telling the story, reflect something that most persons have criticized. Do you think that we can use the tool of filmmaking to effectively challenge the cultural norms and values of society?
Yes. Yes.
Why are we not really doing that?
Because filmmakers are first entrepreneurs, they are business people.
Izu, you're right.
Makes more sense.
I should have
First,
known.
because who is paying you to do what you're doing? You want to sell a market at the end of the day, because you remember why you have so much knowledge about Ramsey Nouah's film being love films is this. Oh, they sold us in a film. He acted as the love interest of somebody, and it's sold, and people like it, maybe Omotala or Genevieve or Stephanie or somebody. The market will be like, oh, Fima na Agafia. Oh. So what next? Let's use it again.
Let's stereotype
Another love story.
Let's use it again. So until we find another Ramsey Nouah wannabe that we could use, so let's be using him to make the money, because this is the market. So filmmakers at that point, I think filmmakers in Nigeria first grew from businessmen, marketers. It's now that though we had creatives, but creatives don't get the funding. Sadly, creatives are the ones that they pay so much attention to detail, and they want to make film, cinema. They're not about the cut and join. They want to pay this attention. Let's create something. Let's make something that people wow at. That's a creative. A marketer does not care. They want to for the money, and it's understandable because they're spending money, so they need to make money. So that's just it. But the creative is not the one spending money. So even when you meet investors and they give you the money to make film, you are interested in, okay, how do I make? But still in the industry. I think at this point right now we're trying to balance between that creative part and the marketing part, and I think we are successfully doing it.
So is there a particular film in mind? You think you are successfully doing that. So is there a particular film, one or two, that is pointing to what you just said?
Yeah, there are lots of them.
One or two can
Tokumbo, Living in Bondage, Jago, King of Boys.
True.
I'm calling big budget films because they're the ones that come to mind. I think they've understood, there is a market, and that market is, they used streamers, for example. They pitched this to streamers, and these streamers like Netflix got excited about this project, the potential of this project, and they're interested in purchasing this project. So it makes sense. So whenever they're bringing out their money to do the project, they know, it's going to be creative, and we are going to make our money back. So it balances it off for everybody. So everybody goes home happy at the end of the day.
So they are certain.
Yeah.
So in what ways exactly would you say that Nollywood has helped to sustain African cultural beliefs and values?
Okay. Nollywood sustaining African cultural beliefs and value. Maybe for the Westerners, when I mean the Western part of Nigeria.
Okay.
Yes. Maybe for the Northerners, yes. Why I said Westerners, Western part of Nigeria is you can comfortably think about a Yoruba film now. Like I can give you 5 minutes, you can comfortably write down 5 big budget Yoruba films right now that you've seen, and they show the Yoruba culture, and they show their culture and tradition. You can maybe think of an Hausa one, even though they're not really
so popular
into film, but they have their stars, Adam Zango and the rest, and they know these guys. They show them their culture. But for the Igbo businessman, for the Southerners, we are all about it's business. So whatever is working at per given time, we dive into it. So I don't think we've touched a bit of the Igbo culture in film.
But what areas are still missing?
Have you seen a film about UG? I think the only thing we saw in film growing up was August Meeting. That they did and you remember August Meeting? They finished every story about August Meeting. Like we saw it, we saw Onaji, we saw we saw the stories of August Meeting. I think we also saw the Iwanko.
Yes.
Even though they didn't show us the cultural aspect of Iwanko, but we saw those bits. But we've not seen Iriji. There are things that are particular to, as much as the Igbo is a tribe, there are different states, there are different communities. Each community has something they're known for. Every community has a festival that their Mong festival. How many films have we seen that talks about the Mong, that tells us about the Mong? Or the coming of age. In my village, there is this coming of age ceremony that they do for ladies once you get to a particular age. For you to the lady kindred, like it's for the ladies,
Yeah.
for young girls. There is a ceremony you must do to introduce you into that clan, into that particular cult. I'll call it a cult, but then it's not like it's a cult. It's what it's actually, if you
It's a
read
cult.
Age grade.
Age grade.
Yes, age
Yes.
grade. You read The African Child, Kamara Lai, I think is one of my favorite books. When he talked about how when he was time for him to become an adult, a man, the dad had to let him
Initiate him.
yes, they initiate him into that thing. And it's a culture for them in Senegal or Gambia. In Nigeria, we have, in Igbo land, we have it. I'm sure most of our villages have some kind of culture, but how many of us know about them? How many of us have seen it in
And
films?
we don't tell them
And we
in
don't tell
stories.
them in stories.
Are you saying that no one has replicated the Iriji that we read in Things Fall Apart? I remember the picture that Chinua Achebe painted of the yam mound that was large enough that you wouldn't be able to see someone across the table, except at the time that the mound went down. So are you saying that we have not actually replicated that, even if in passing, like Ibanko?
It's possible that we have.
But you're actually
but
looking forward to
when I talk
total
about
story.
August meeting,
We are
a picture comes to you, must have seen a
Women
film.
gathered, yes.
okay.
There is no how you deny that you didn't see a film about the August meeting while growing up. We saw the plot, like it made us know that during August, women are supposed to come down for a particular meeting. We don't know what they're doing in the meeting, but we know that there is a meeting. So I don't say if it has been shown the way these other ones have been shown. I think it should also be something we talk about. I feel it's something.
But if we show all of this cultural, in fact, we tell our stories and reflect our identities in films, what effect do you think that will have on society? We are talking about reorientation.
I think it's because right now, I wake up in the morning. Let's say I go to my house. I greet my dad. Good morning, sir. In the night, good evening, sir. In the West, the Westerners, they don't.
Southwest Nigeria.
Now, if you tell an Igbo man to translate it to Igbo, Otutoma, is Otutoma good morning? It's funny because we don't even know what Otutoma is again. We don't know what good morning is for the Igbo man again. I think it's Isalachi. That's what we are supposed to tell someone in the morning. And we've lost this. We are losing bits and bits and bits. But maybe next 10 years, we don't even know what Mars. Many people don't use Mars again. If you call someone Mars, we like Kayena Bomifa. We are now sticking to the ones that we commonly use. Our culture. It's through films that we tend to, because there is a film you see. Believe me, there is a film you see, and you see something that someone does in that film or particular thing they call, and be like, oh, what is this? Let me go and check. Google is always our friend. We go and check. Oh, so this is what this is. Like the film Apocalypse. The guy created an entire language for film. If you've seen Apocalypse, he created an entire language for film, a language that has never been existent. The same guy that shot The Passion of Christ is one that made Apocalypse. It's a very beautiful story. It's a story I watched, and I don't know, but I know it talked about the South American, the Aztecs, AZTEC, so it's called Maya culture. So it told their story to an extent, and then it infused different languages into it. The same way CJ Obasi did with Mami Water, told a story about some parts of West Africa that we don't even know. So I feel like as Igbo people, I feel as the film has this roots that if we don't tell our stories, if we don't tell it, we'll be losing them day by day. Like we need to, as much as like I tell stories from a personal point of view, things that I faced while growing up, challenges I faced, things I've experienced, things that have happened to me, things that have happened to my friend. Like recently I shot a film called Chiugo. This is a short film. It's about a story of kidnap. It happened to my friend and my younger sister and some other people I know. I was like, oh, what do I need to do? Because this is where it comes to me now. What can I do? The best thing I could do is just to shoot a film, make a film about it. So people say, oh, this is what happens. It's not yet out. It's still on film festivals and all. So it's a short film. So, but then that is what I feel a filmmaker should do.
Okay, so talking about streaming platforms, so to what extent does streaming platforms like Netflix and the rest of them democratize access to social transformative films?
I think the truth is this: the international community, the global community, cares so much about our stories more than we care about them.
Really?
Yeah. You can't be more American than the American man. You can't come and be
Absolutely.
speaking. Yeah, I gonna what? What? Like, are you going to be more American than
No,
them?
you can never.
There is no how our leagues, our football leagues, could get as big as the
Foreign leagues.
yes, UK, England, where it started, as an example. It can't get as big. I don't know that it can get big, but if it gets big, it's going to be within our own circle. It's like when I talk about Hollywood. Hollywood is like this. Hollywood is them to the world. That's it. A Hollywood film comes out, a big Hollywood studio film comes out, they are distributing the film to the entire world, to China, to any country that has access to Hollywood. When I mean access, like show their films. It's showing in our cinemas. That's why you go to cinema and you see, oh, this Hollywood film is showing. Go to Tokyo, go to Hollywood, go to America. How many of our films do we distribute to our cinema and it's showing there? We're already using. It's called one not like this because we can't show them our films,
But they
through
show
the
us
theater.
their films.
But we lobby to want to see their films. Like during the vogue of the Indian films, Indian took over the whole space. Everybody was Jamina and the rest of them. They took over the space with their music, their film, and everything. And it was at that point they were winning the world because they had access to. But we can't do that. That's why. To us, it's the TV culture that came into play that helped us start telling our stories to TV drama. So now, with Netflix, with the streaming platform, we have access to a global community. We can show our films, we can make them here, and it goes global. Like, even with YouTube also, it works on YouTube. But YouTube is limited. It depends on your fan base, your subscribers.
Oh, really?
But Netflix is, as far as Netflix is on anybody's phone, they'll just go, oh, what film is showing on Netflix? Tell them, go search this film on Netflix. They'll just go search it on
And
Netflix.
it's always there.
And it's there. But YouTube, you will see a lot of junk, whatnot. Or you have to go to subscribe to that person's channel before you now have access to their content or whatnot. But then with the streamers, their Prime Videos, the Netflix, the Apple TV, you just go and you see, and it's there and it's global.
We shall return to the new media, but there's something I'd like us to talk about, and that's sensitive stories.
Okay.
In trying to keep up with or navigate your ethical values
Yes.
in film production, I don't know if there are dilemmas while you are trying to live up to responsibility towards your audience, but how should controversial issues be tackled during filmmaking?
Okay, as a news reporter, something happens. How do you report it?
Strike a balance
You strike a balance. That's
and
what
be unbiased.
you have to be unbiased and film also. You need to tell your story from the point of view that the person that it happened to knows, oh, this is my story. The person that it has not happened to feels what it feels like to be in that person's story, because no matter how much we put it in words, filmmaking is storytelling, and storytelling from a human's point of view. That's why film comes out, and that's why people blush about film. Like, people can watch a film and, oh, that you've not seen that guy, but you fell in love with someone you've seen on screen. Like, it's common with Korean films where, funny, they speak Korean in their film. They speak like, their names are not English names. How many times have you seen a Korean film and the guy's name is an English?
Really? Almost.
And yet everybody is, because of what? Simple storytelling. They have understood the market and they are pushing it, they are strategically promoting it. I'm actually a fan of, let me do a film, because there are films you download, you go and look for their subtitle. even English film, you gotta look for subtitles so you can watch.
And keep
They are
up.
speaking English, but you want to be reading. So Korean films is now common for Korean. Everybody you cannot watch a Korean film without a subtitle. Some people even watch. I think in the days of Indian films, they watch Indian films without subtitles. You just be looking at them.
But somehow you think,
you know what they are doing. So why can't we just, oh yeah, can I swear Igbo in a film? Let's speak our Igbo. Like my boss will always say, let's put our Igbo there, let's speak it. And it's Igbo is sweet. Like the funny thing about Igbo is if you go to a different part, there is an Abakaliki Igbo, there's an Owerri Igbo, there's an Enugu Igbo, there's an Anambra Igbo. I think when I moved to Owerri for the first time and I speak my Enugu Igbo, they'll be like, oh, the kids say Anambra. I say, I know. So it makes sense. It's exciting to hear. But is it that we are ashamed of that particular language or words? So I think we need to, as much as we need to strike a balance around all those things, but then we should tell our stories the best way we can.
Which controversial story do you really admire in film?
I think I've not seen the Black Book. So I've not seen the Black Book.
Is it a Nigerian production?
It's a Nigerian film.
Oh, really?
I think it was the director's debut, but I read about films before I even watched them.
Okay.
I read the synopsis, understand what the story is trying to tell, because film for me is an immersive experience. I have to be in a mental mood to watch. I don't just bring
it's not entertainment to you, right?
Yeah, I could do it for entertainment, but particular films, I have to be in the mood. I have to immerse myself in that mood, or find a way to because I'm coming here to learn. For me, film is a learning experience. Every film I see is an opportunity for me to learn something, because I'm a filmmaker and these guys are filmmakers, so they have something that I need to learn from them. So I'm always, oh wow, interesting, wow, this is how this actor approached this is how they did. Oh, it's an interesting experience for me. Like I have a lot of shows I can binge watch. Like I have a particular show that I've watched over 10 times. When I say a show, it's not 1 hour 30 minutes film, it's over 20 hours. It's a series. I think I call it my favorite series. It's called The OC. It's not that popular. The OC. I think what connected me to the story is the writer at that point. He was just 23 or so. So he just wrote something, pitched it to studios. There's actually a story about him. His growing up days in New York before moving to California, trying to balance life and all. So it's a story about him that he was, and that like what excited me is, oh, this guy is young. He was able to understand, oh, I can tell a story about my life. And the story is interesting because people forget it. That's why we sit down and watch Big Brother Night. What I watch, they're not even telling me in their story. Their life in the street is more exciting than what they do in the house. But people will sit down
and be watching.
So people's stories are what makes everything you've seen out actually people's stories. From the best films you've seen.
Okay. So how does censorship particularly affect the ability of films to challenge social norms and promote reorientation?
Okay, censors board, in censorship helps a lot because there are certain things the government might be, because every country, every nation has a governing body, has a body that decide what goes. Nigeria operates the federal government system of government. So, and that federal government system has this National Nigerian Film Video Censors Board. And to an extent, they have seen some ill effects of certain things we want to tell. So they'll be like, instead of showing it, tell it. Like right now, I don't know how. Back in the days, when we see film, we see someone wants to put poison for someone, they'll bring it around. It leaves you must have seen a film like that. It leaves the mental picture in your head. I'd be like, oh, they must sprinkle it before it's actually the poison. Why not tell it instead of showing it? So censors will be like, oh, we don't want to see this because it affects people. That's why they made the ban on rituals. But then I don't think it depends on how you tell you could tell a story without actually showing something and still tell that story. You can tell it without actually showing, oh, they killed. You've seen a film where they wanted to kill somebody, they just move camera, move head.
Yes.
Let's see here, head is on the ground. It goes. It's storytelling.
You don't need to give all
you
the
don't
gory
need to
pictures.
show all the goriness of the whole process. It's not a horror film now, unless you're doing a horror film.
Okay. And we did quite a lot of that
yes,
back in the day. Okay, let's look at the social media. You know, when you were talking about streaming and YouTube and all of those, I said we're going to get back to that. Now that we have social media platforms and we have a lot of these films, like you rightly pointed out, shown there. We watch quite a number of these films on some platforms, on some people's channels. Do these platforms aid in societal reorientation or dilute the message of the film? Which one does it do?
The next thing I actually feel most platforms are, every platform wants to make money.
That's the primary aim.
I think some people might want to make impact, or some people might want to make impact and just without wanting impact. Like growing up in the days, we watched the Mount Zion films. So we had a picture of Mount Zion films growing up. Chiugo, the gods are created, the gods are dead, and all the rest of those kind of films. They gave us this insight of God being who God is from
Supreme.
their point of view. So everybody's film is coming from that person's point of view. So that's what, at the end of the day, the streamers, the person that is pushing the film out there, it's always their POV. They are showing you their POV. So whatever POV they show us to an extent, it's what they want us to see. It's what they want us to see. That's what they're always showing us. So it's now for us to, but now there are a lot of people that have access to phones, TV remotes that are not up to a particular age that could just go back and start watching what they're not supposed to watch. So I feel as much as it's understandable, that's where censors board also come into play. They censor film, but most films on those digital platforms, like not when I mean digital, I'm looking at most films on YouTube are not censored. On Facebook, contents are not censored. Content creators, the contents are not censored. So they can just, I think it's YouTube that is now trying to say, don't do this, don't do that, or Facebook.
Facebook does.
Yeah, don't post this. They're now trying to censor what people put on their platform because it's their platform. They're trying to create an image of them. So that's what I feel. I feel certain content creators should also be like, okay, this is what I want to put, and that's what they actually do. Some people want to, oh, I'm a comedian, let me just be putting out comedy stuff, like it works best for them. So whatever we see is the person's point of view, is what they want you to see.
Interesting. You talked about censoring certain actions in movies. Let's take a look at on Netflix, this streaming platform. You notice that recently people have really been complaining about about Netflix always trying to infuse, like a gay scene in almost every movie that is on that platform.
Okay. How would my friend call this? What my friend always call it? Say the agenda is something like agenda is also, but then I don't think so. You know why I think so? I don't think so. Those films that those kind of things go on in, I feel they're American films, Hollywood films, and to an extent, is a culture that most of them have accepted. Okay, yes, they've accepted. Oh, I can now decide that I'm no longer Izu Okafor, a man. I am now. You can now use the following pronouns for me. Them. So it's actually funny, but it's what they've accepted. We can't come and tell our cultural stories right now. Like, as much as I know it's possible, I'm not saying it's not possible. But we can't come and tell our cultural stories right now. And someone would tell me that, oh, it's no longer Okafor and Norma, it's now Okafor and Okonkwo. I'd be like, where did you read it from? Is it from Things Fall Apart?
No, Chicken the River.
So it's not part of our culture. So if we can go tell our own cultural story, I think there is no place to do those kind of mix up in our own cultural stories. There's no place to be.
I know that Nollywood today is not what it was in the early 90s when it started. and it's not the same with 2000, early 2000, late mid 2000.
Yes.
And so technologically, we have evolved. I know it's not just for filmmaking. There's been rapid advancement of technology, even in film production. And so some of the tools you have adopted so far, does it enhance the storytelling experience in a way that can lead to societal change? Or does it alter or detract from the core message, the tools you use? Because you're talking about gay and all of those, and you're saying that what we have cannot repair. But let's look at, because some of the tools you use are not made in Nigeria, are not made for Nigeria, or are they?
They're not made for Nigerian. But yes, they're not made for Nigeria. But then, it's actually funny because I think there is a global community. The global community makes stuff for itself. Let's say I go to a restaurant, like let's say in India, I go to Intachosa. Intachosa makes food for the community around it. So I think from my own POV, I would say most of what's available out there are not made for us. Okay, but can we make our own?
We can't.
Can we
for now.
Can we make? Well, you're talking
Do
about
we have the
technology.
resources for
You're
that?
talking about technology. Don't know. So, because cameras are expensive. There are some cameras in film can buy a whole like if you like there's a camera okay, let's Alexa Mini LF, that one is like $100,000 or so. You've not talked about the lens.
100,000.
Yes, you've not talked about the lens. Who's okay, are we, even if we make our own, will we support it? Because
will we patronize it?
we'll still go and
buy foreign.
Yeah, it's really great. So I still prefer, let's keep using what we used to, because no man would go out of their way to invent that camera and someone will come and be telling you that because the camera is actually made for the black skin.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Is that not racist?
It's not like, it's not, you don't blame them.
You
It's
can
made
make yours and make it adapt
at
your
first.
own.
For black
At
people.
first, because you remember the early generation of film, it was black and white.
Yes,
so
black and
imagine
white.
a black person on a black and white screen.
Screen. Oh, that's true.
It would have been interesting.
But we're past that era
Yes, but
now.
then we've passed that era. But then I think the camera now is now adapting, because I feel every camera company now wants to accommodate. But at first, I'm just saying at first, the camera wasn't made for black skin. So right now, I think the camera technology are now being sensitive to the tone of our skin and trying to understand, it's not just Caucasian, there is Negroes, there are those Indians, there are different other kind of colors out there. There's even the red people out there. So
Yes,
why
there are
not
people.
make a camera that can, with few settings, you can accommodate all this. It gives them better market too. So that's why I think the camera has upgraded them before.
As about Nollywood films, let's talk about Nollywood. Would you say that their film production, I don't know why you're laughing.
He even exclaimed, like an area he doesn't want to
Go
delve into.
into.
But we'll talk
But
about
I'm not going to dive deep into it. But would you say that they create movies from the artistic area,
Okay, yes,
Or-
the artists.
or is for finance?
They're actually artists too. I really like.
Are they?
Yeah, the artists. Artist has there is a difference. How do I explain this thing? Most of them, like I did one of the first jobs I did this year. I did this in Asaba. It was actually my first time filming in Asaba. So I worked with an very interesting director. But then what is there is just that a lot of people are now used to cutting corners in film. We need to shoot this is a script though. It's something we need to shoot for 10 days. I said 5 days.
Even 3 days.
You see, so we need to before you're trying to cut all these
timeline
corners.
is a different ball game. You can actually do a film. I've seen films in just a particular location, like the sitting room, the bedroom, and the dining.
Yes, you can be creative. I'm not against. You can be creative with all those things. So.
Is that creativity?
And having an hour film.
But they do it.
They do it on YouTube these days.
Yeah, I think people age because I love it's motion picture for a reason. I love movement in film. Most people love movement. I love the film where the film open. I see someone running. I love those kind of films. I don't want to see myself sit there like I'm in a studio now. Yeah, I don't want studio. It's not sitcom again now. We've left apart Jasco era. So right now, I feel film should be creative. Most of them are actually being creative out there. Like most people are being creative, but then it's actually limited on most of them. Is I think if with more funding, a lot of people will do better, and with more education, because the guys in Asaba, including myself, you will not be surprised at the kind of education we have. We did not study filmmaking. Most of them did not study. They just learn from, come and be PA. From PAs, they now upgrade. Come and hold camera. Come and carry sound boom. Like that. So imagine with such just kind of Iba boy in filmmaking, they've
gained the experience.
Yeah. So what if they now get, because I'm going back to school to go and get a PG to do something in film and media studies. So it's because actually, this is a field I will be in for like the next 10, 20 years.
Interesting.
So before I change to a minute, that's it. But right now, so I need to learn about this.
You're actually a curious being.
Very, very curious.
I want to try playing things.
No, but for now, I'm interested in films. I want to do films.
Okay, so which ones are to your credit?
Okay, I've done Dinobi. Dinobi streaming on. Okay, let me start from the first film I did. The first short film I did was Perfect Distraction. It was actually my friend's story. At that time, I just finished learning videos now. I just started production a bit away. He just sent the script from. I was learning with him. He sent the script. I'm like, I have the script. Come, let's shoot now. I asked someone there, because I wanted to experiment. Film is exciting. It's like something is addictive once you start. That's why you see people when they start filmmaking. It needs the Holy Spirit to come and
pull you out.
Pull you out, because film it's exciting. Even if it's taking your money the next time, you'll still be doing it until maybe it's now frustrates you.
You have to stop.
You don't have to stop or finish your money. But if you have anything to support, you will be doing film. So I did a Perfect Distraction. After Perfect Distraction, we did a Chiugo. Chiugo was the first short film I did. Perfect Distraction was a web series, my friend's story. I was the producer of that particular project. We shot Chiugo in Owerri. Chiugo was about mental health. So it's a film we sent to film festivals. Like it did so well on some festivals around the world. It's about mental health and how the psychology, mind, and all. It's about that relationship, mental. It's a very short film. Then I did my debut feature film called Dinobi. Dinobi was a story I got in 2021. My friend Clifford wrote Dinobi. Then it was a story about, kind of a bit about his story. So, and I connect to stories like that. I have a lot of stories like that. So when he shared it to me in 2021, I'm like, this is really going to film. So fast forward to 2022 ending, I wanted to do my first feature. I told myself if I don't shoot, because that time I moved to Owerri then. So I was like, if I don't shoot a feature film before this particular time, I'm going to leave Owerri. I'm going to Lagos. I wanted to put myself under pressure so I could do something, because I understand that human beings get comfortable at some point in life. Be like, I don't want to be comfortable at any point in my life. I just need to keep, if it's possible, keep standing, keep moving, keep running. So that was just it for me. So at the time I was talking, I was zero naira, no budget anyway. We started developing the story. December, the plan was to film March. Started developing the story, started meeting people, started talking, prepared the pitch deck, whatnot. It seemed January finished, February it wasn't working, March. It was tiresome. I came to Enugu for the Coastal Film Festival, then got inspired. I met my boss then, Mr. Chris Odeh. It was exciting. Like Chris was the person that made me love filmmaking. He's the one that shot Living in Bondage, Tokumbo, Akiabuhu, the new ones. So he made me love filmmaking more. He's someone that anytime I get discouraged, I'll just go and listen to him. But these days I don't get discouraged again. I'm used to discouragement. Discouragement, we are like neighbors, so we roll. We roll. I was telling someone that if I get $1 for every no or rejection.
You
now.
would have been richer
Yeah,
than
yeah, yeah.
Warren
I
Buffett.
wouldn't be worrying about feeding monthly because they knows enough. The dollar will be enough to feed me
you.
because I eat 3 times a day. I love it. So like I am used to getting no's, but no is just until you get your own yes now. For every
True.
100 no's, there must be one yes.
Okay. In talking about societal reorientation, our time is actually up, but
Wow.
we need to round this off. What is your vision for the future of Nigerian film industry in addressing pressing global issues, societal issues, all of those things, human rights, climate change, the future, other than the entertainment part and the entrepreneurship part?
Okay, this is where I feel the government has to step in. Well, actually say government has to step in. Any individual that wants to spend 10 million, 15 million, 100 million is not doing it because they have 1 billion out there. They're doing it because, oh, as much as I want to create something, I want to make profits. But government, that's why I think when government was doing, there are these BBC stories we listen to on radio, and they had story by BBC.
Story, yeah.
They had this, the idea, I think it was either an agenda about, they talked about a lot of things. There were a lot of societal issues that we are dealing with story at that point. And the same thing goes to the stories we saw on TV growing up, like the super story. There is something that we're trying to tackle, a moral issue, a societal challenge, or something. So if the government does not support filmmakers and point them towards that line, we're going to be getting more entertainment, and we love entertainment.
Izu, thank you very much for joining us on Signature Evening
Thank you
and
very
bringing
much.
entertainment on the show this evening. Yes, we laughed and we kind of looked
Snipped.
back with nostalgia where we're coming from in the film industry in Nigeria. Thank you again for
Thank you
joining
very
us.
Thank you so much.
Signature TV. News in your pocket.